On my birthday, my husband, along with his friend, gave me such a surprise. Birthdays have always been special for me, a time to celebrate with loved ones and make cherished memories. This year, I was expecting something simple, a quiet evening with my husband, maybe a nice dinner and a few heartfelt moments together. But as the day unfolded, I started to notice little things that didn't quite add up. My husband was unusually secretive, and his phone seemed to buzz more than usual. He kept exchanging knowing glances with his best friend, who had conveniently dropped by for an impromptu visit. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just their usual banter. But something about their hushed tones and the way they avoided certain questions made me feel like they were hiding something. As the day turned into evening, my curiosity grew. My husband suggested we go out for a drive, which wasn't entirely out of the ordinary, but the route he took felt unfamiliar. "Where are we going?" I asked, half laughing, trying to mask the nervous excitement building inside me. His response was vague, but the mischievous smile on his face hinted that he had something planned. His friend, seated in the back seat, seemed just as eager, his silence only adding to the suspense. When we finally arrived at our destination, I was stunned. The place, the atmosphere, and the people waiting for us. It was nothing like I had ever imagined. But what truly left me speechless was what happened next. Something I never could have anticipated. What started as a simple birthday celebration turned into a moment that would stay etched in my heart forever. What was the surprise, and how did it change everything? Stay with me as I unfold the story of that unforgettable day. As I stepped out of the car, the crisp evening air heightened my anticipation. My husband took my hand, his grip firm but comforting, as he led me toward a softly lit pathway. Lined with candles, the path seemed to stretch into an enchanting world I didn't recognize. His friend walked a few paces behind, carrying something I couldn't make out, a box maybe. My curiosity only deepened as I noticed faint music playing in the distance, a melody that tugged at my emotions and filled me with a strange sense of nostalgia. The setting felt surreal. We reached a clearing where a canopy of fairy lights sparkled like stars, casting a warm glow over a beautifully arranged table. It looked straight out of a magazine, with delicate flowers, gleaming cutlery, and a cake that was as elaborate as it was inviting. Yet, as magical as it was, I couldn't shake the feeling that something more was coming. My husband's friend exchanged another cryptic glance with him, and they both smiled knowingly, as if they were on the verge of revealing a secret they had been keeping for months. We sat down, and as I marveled at the effort that had gone into this setup, my husband began to speak. He recounted moments from our life together, our first date, our struggles, our triumphs, painting a vivid picture of the journey we had shared. His voice trembled slightly, as if there was something weighing on him, something he wasn't sure how to express. His friend chimed in, sharing his own memories of our time as a trio, making me laugh with stories I had nearly forgotten. Just as I was starting to relax, feeling grateful for this heartfelt evening, my husband stood up and reached for the mysterious box. My heart raced as he opened it, revealing something that left me momentarily speechless. The night was far from over, and the most unforgettable part was yet to come. The box sat open, revealing a stunning necklace shimmering with diamonds, catching the light in a way that felt almost too perfect. My breath caught as I looked up at my husband, searching his face for the meaning behind this extravagant gesture. It wasn't like him to do something so grand, especially with his friend involved. The air grew heavier, and my gratitude was slowly replaced by a nagging sense of unease. Why now? What was this all for? Before I could ask, his friend interrupted my thoughts with a laugh, clapping my husband on the back as if they had just shared an inside joke. "You really outdid yourself, man," he said, shaking his head. "She's going to love the rest of it." The rest of it? My pulse quickened. What more could there be? I tried to smile, but the knot in my stomach only tightened. It felt like I was walking into a trap I didn't even know existed. Dinner was served, and though the food was delicious, I could hardly focus on eating. My husband kept glancing at his watch, his movements growing increasingly fidgety. His friend, on the other hand, seemed unusually relaxed, as if he was enjoying watching my growing discomfort. The tension between us was palpable, and I couldn't ignore the unspoken exchange that kept passing between them. Out of nowhere, my husband asked me to close my eyes. "Just trust me," he said softly, his tone soothing yet unsettling. Against my better judgment, I did as he asked. When I opened them again, I was surrounded by unfamiliar faces. People I hadn't seen in years, some from my past, some I barely recognized, were suddenly standing around the table, their expressions a mixture of excitement and something I couldn't quite name. My heart raced as I tried to piece together what was happening. The atmosphere shifted dramatically. Their presence wasn't joyful, it felt deliberate, as though they were here for a specific reason. My husband and his friend exchanged one final look, and I realized whatever they were about to reveal was going to change everything. The air in the room seemed heavier with each passing second as I tried to make sense of the situation. The faces around me weren't smiling anymore, and their subdued murmurs were filled with a strange tension. My husband moved to stand beside his friend, both of them avoiding my gaze. It felt like I was on the outside of some grand secret, one that everyone else knew but me. My chest tightened as I wondered why he would orchestrate something so elaborate, only to leave me feeling so alienated. One of the guests, a woman with sharp eyes and a cautious expression, stepped forward. She opened her mouth to speak but hesitated, glancing at my husband for approval. He nodded slightly, his face a mixture of determination and unease. When she finally spoke, her voice was steady but laced with something that felt like pity. "There's something you deserve to know," she began. "We're not here by accident." Her words sent a chill down my spine, and I instinctively glanced toward my husband. He wouldn't meet my eyes. My thoughts raced as fragments of the evening began to piece themselves together in my mind. The necklace, the cryptic comments, the uncomfortable energy. It was all building to something, but what? The woman stepped closer, her voice lowering as if she didn't want the others to hear. "We're all connected to you in ways you don't realize," she said, "and tonight, it's time you learned the truth." I shot a panicked look at my husband. "What is this about?" I demanded, my voice trembling. He opened his mouth to answer but hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. This wasn't just about a surprise birthday party. This was something deeper, darker, and far more personal. The woman handed me an envelope. My hands trembled as I took it, my breath shallow. The room was eerily silent as everyone watched me, their expressions unreadable. I looked down at the envelope, my heart pounding as though it already knew what was inside. My husband finally spoke, his voice low and strained. "Just open it," he said. I hesitated, my fingers lingering on the seal. The weight of the moment was suffocating. Whatever was in that envelope wasn't just a gift. It was a revelation, and I had the sinking feeling that once I opened it, there would be no going back. The envelope felt unnaturally heavy in my hands, as if it carried the weight of all the unspoken truths in the room. With every second I hesitated, the silence grew louder, pressing in on me. My husband's gaze flickered between me and the envelope, his lips slightly parted, as though he wanted to intervene, but couldn't find the words. Finally, I slid my finger under the seal and pulled out a folded piece of paper. As I unfolded it, my stomach churned. The words on the page hit me like a freight train. It wasn't what I expected. It was worse. The letter revealed that my husband and his friend had been working together on something for months, something that directly impacted me. My name was mentioned repeatedly, and as I read further, the knot in my chest tightened. It wasn't just the betrayal of being left in the dark, it was the content of their plans that shook me. According to the letter, they had been tracking down people from my past, people I had intentionally left behind. The letter detailed conversations with individuals I hadn't seen in decades, people who knew the version of me I'd buried long ago. My mind raced as I pieced together the implications. Why would they go to such lengths? What were they trying to uncover? I turned to my husband, my voice shaking. What is this? Why would you do this? His face fell, and for a brief moment I saw a flash of guilt, but it was quickly replaced by resolve. His friend stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. We thought you deserved the truth about everything. Before I could process what he meant, the front door swung open. A man stepped inside, his face eerily familiar. My breath caught as memories flooded back. Memories I'd fought so hard to suppress. He was from a chapter of my life I'd never wanted to revisit. My pulse quickened as I realized the truth wasn't just written in the letter, it was standing right in front of me. The room seemed to close in as the man took a seat.
The man's eyes softened as he reached into his pocket, pulling out an old photograph. He handed it to me, and as I looked down, the image blurred through my tears. It was a picture of us, years ago, in a life I'd left behind. My knees threatened to buckle as the weight of the moment crashed down on me. Whatever was happening now, it was far from over. The silence hung in the air as my husband approached me cautiously, his expression a mixture of guilt and desperation. He sat down across from me, his hands trembling as he reached for mine. "I never meant for any of this to hurt you," he said softly, his voice breaking. For the first time in what felt like forever, I saw the man I fell in love with, the one who once made me feel safe and cherished. I placed the photograph down on the table between us, a symbolic barrier of everything we needed to address. The picture, the conversations overheard, and the betrayal. It all came flooding out as we sat there, finally talking without pretense. He explained everything, the friend's involvement, the misunderstood situations, and his own regrets. It wasn't a perfect explanation, but it was honest, and it gave me a foundation to start processing the chaos. As we talked, the doorbell rang. It was his friend, carrying the last piece of the puzzle. A heartfelt letter addressed to me, explaining his role and expressing his deep regret for allowing things to spiral. Though my heart was heavy, something about their shared accountability gave me a flicker of hope. They weren't hiding anymore. They wanted to make amends. The evening stretched into the night as we worked through the layers of pain and misunderstandings. By the time the first rays of dawn broke through the window, I felt lighter. Forgiveness wasn't instantaneous, but I saw a path forward, a chance to rebuild, slowly and cautiously. Reflecting on everything, I realized love isn't just about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about weathering the storms together, learning from mistakes, and finding strength in the cracks. Trust, once broken, takes time to mend, but the willingness to try is the first step.